thank you again to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. So I've already done my reaction to this video last year. So now it's time to do this video this year for 2022. So next year, I got 11 out of 10 as long as Hamilton actually signs, which of course he's going to sign. Come on, surely. Last year's driver market was actually pretty volatile in the end, wasn't it? So this one I think is going to be a bit more calm because we are going into new regulations in the 2022 season. So teams are going to, there's definitely not going to be any double swap ups. And I've said that 5 teams are going to stick, 5 teams are going to twist on 1 driver each. So let's get the boring ones out of the way first. Which teams are going to stick with their current lineup? And I'm doing these basically in order of what I think the most likely is. I'm going first with my most confident one, all the way to my least confident driver transfer. Number 1, it's got to be the McLaren boys. Ricciardo, Norris, both on point at the minute, both smashing it performance-wise. I think McLaren are onto a very, very, very good thing. Commercially as well, they're both very valuable to that team. I see absolutely no circumstance why those two won't be in those seats for 2022. No, surely not. Next, I'm putting Aston Martin. Now, of course, Stroll ain't going to lose that seat. That's absolutely guaranteed. That's not going to happen, all right? Not while Daddy's in charge. And then Sebastian, even though he had a poor last season, and I'm not convinced he's going to absolutely smash it, I do think he will improve. And I just think that they've put too much commercial focus on getting Seb in by dropping Sergio, because that's such an L, dropping Sergio. I really think that. But regardless, I think Aston will stick by Seb for sure. Even if he doesn't have an amazing season, I'm very, very, very confident he'll have a better season than he did at Ferrari last year. And I'm pretty confident he'll beat out Stroll in the end. Next, we have Ferrari. Now, Charles Leclerc, pretty obvious. Of course, he's going to stay. He's their golden boy, and rightly so. Amazing driver. Carlos Sainz as well. They're bringing in a very, very talented driver who's got a lot of confidence in the minute. He's got a lot of ambition. Part of me was like, maybe Schumacher might get the step up because of his name to Ferrari, but I don't. Maybe one day, but I don't think that's going to be 2022. I think that's a bit too premature for that. I think Carlos is going to really push Charles. I really do. And I think in terms of talent, that driver pairing is right up there. And I hope they work well together. It could get a bit feisty, which would, of course, be interesting. But I want to see Ferrari back fighting at the top for sure. All right, quick break. Advertising, Tommo, you're up. Cheers, Tommo. So today is going to be the 4th and final, for the time being anyway, ad read from Squarespace. So I do want to say a big thank you to them. So just to reiterate, really, I've been a user of Squarespace for years now for my site, tommoclassicy.co.uk. And if anyone out there is looking to do the same, whether it's a portfolio like mine is, a blog, you're selling something, any reason you might want a website, I've always recommended Squarespace since I started using them. And whether or not I'm getting paid to say it, I will always continue to recommend them, because for me, it's the best one out there. So if you are interested, head down to the link in the description, squarespace.com. You can give it a go completely free. There's mad levels of functionality you can try out and test without having to spend a penny. Then, when you're ready to go live, use the code TOMMOF1 at checkout for 10% off your first website or domain purchase. You know, I wouldn't be recommending it if it wasn't different gravy. Cheers, mate. Back to the video. Next, we have Haas. Brand new rookie lineup for this season. I'm saying they're going to stick. Schumacher, I think, will do well. He needs a couple of seasons to bed in that team. And money talks, doesn't it? Especially in Formula 1. And then the 5th and final team who I think are going to stick with their driver pairing from 2021 into 2022 is Red Bull, with Max Verstappen and Sergio Perez. Again, obviously Max is a no-brainer. He's their golden child. He's unreal talented, Max, for sure. Like, he will win a World Drivers title one day. I'm very, very confident of that. Obviously, with Sergio, I do think he's going to do a better job. I've said this before, I'll say it again, than Alex or Pierre did, because he's got a lot more experience. I do think he's going to do the job Red Bull want him to do. Maybe not quite to the level that I think a lot of people are expecting. I don't think he's going to get anywhere near Max, personally. I really don't. But I think he'll do a solid job. And I think that, you know, it will make sense for them to carry on. Again, he's bringing in a lot of new sponsors to the Red Bull team as well. Sergio, I know Red Bull don't need the money, but I think it will go a long way. But the reason I put him 5th, in terms of this is the one I'm least confident in, is that you just don't know what Red Bull are going to do. If Sergio struggles in the same way that Alex and Pierre did, which could happen, I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. They're probably going to swap him out, aren't they? They haven't got that attachment to him as a young driver, so it's tricky, but I'm still saying they'll stick with Max and Sergio. And then for the 5 teams that are going to be changing up a driver, just one each, one per team. No one's going greedy and going for 2. Again, most likely, top, I'm saying Mercedes. Surely they're going to get rid of Bottas and bring in Russell. Surely. Russell will have had 3 seasons at Williams. He's already proven he's got it in him. He convincingly outperformed Valtteri at the Sakir Grand Prix in a car that he barely even fitted in. Come on, George is different gravy. He's next level. Valtteri, I'm sorry, he ain't at that level. And the thing is as well, if Mercedes hold it off any longer, they are at risk of losing Russell. And apparently there's been quotes from Helmut Marko, which again, take with a pinch of salt, saying that Russell's got a 10-year contract with Toto Wolff. I don't know how much of that is true or how much of that is nonsense, but ultimately there's always a risk that George will get disillusioned if he's not getting the... Which I think George has done everything he possibly can in terms of performances. Yes, the points haven't always... Well, they've never been there. But his performances have spoken for themselves. So I think he deserves it. Next, AlphaTauri. And I'm saying Yuki Tsunoda and Alex Albon. So I'm saying Yuki will have a solid year. First year in F1. I think he's an incredibly talented young man. I think he's going to do a really good job. And I think he's going to learn a lot from Pierre as well, which would be great for him. And then I think Pierre's seat is going to become vacant. And I think Alex is going to take that seat. Now, call me an Alex Albon fanboy, all you like, in the comments. I'm just looking at it from the point of view that Alex's highs were higher than Pierre's highs at Red Bull, but also his lows were lower. Pierre was given that second chance to go back to AlphaTauri. Circumstance prevented that from... if Yuki hadn't been coming up, Alex would have got that AlphaTauri seat 100%. If Pierre can return to AlphaTauri and excel, there's no reason why Alex can't do the same. I firmly believe that. And of course, there is the tyre link to Red Bull, which again is only going to help his cause ultimately. It's just not going to be quite the same for me this year without Alex in the sport, sadly. And then onto Alpine. I am saying Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. This is why Gasly's seat opens up at AlphaTauri, because Gasly's not going to get the promotion back to Red Bull. I can't see that happening. So Renault come calling to bring him in to the Renault fold. Other people have predicted this, but pretty much everyone is saying that he'd replace Ocon, so it would be Gasly, Alonso. I don't think that's going to be the case. I know Alonso fans are triggered right now. Okay, I've seen it all. It's fine. I don't know. You don't know either. None of us know. This is all spitballing, okay? We haven't got a clue what's going to happen. But I think there's enough to suggest that Ocon is improving. He was pretty much on Ricciardo's level by the end of last season, which I think is big. And the fact that he's French and it's Renault, very nationalist. They love the French in France, okay? I'm all for it. And I think the fact that Ocon is so much younger, I think he's on an upward trajectory. Alonso, there's no way he's on an upward trajectory at 40 years of age. I'm sorry, it's not happening. Yes, he could come in and do really well, for sure. Am I happy to be proven wrong? Sure, but I think Ocon's got a lot more promise going forward. We're not getting a 2005-6 Fernando Alonso, for crying out loud. I think the prospect of bringing in a driver as proven as Pierre Gasly and with as much potential and hopefully will do well in 2021 as Ocon, both French, into Renault, that's going to be too good to not let happen. And yes, I know they don't get along. I've covered it all before myself. Trust me, I know the situation. But I think for the good of the team, for the good of the potential, for the good of having 2 young French drivers at that Renault team, I think Cyril are going to bang their heads together and be like, sort it out, lads. All right, come on. We're working together here. We're going to make something beautiful. Sacre bleu. Because they could be a real force to be reckoned with at Alpine. Okay, team number 9. Williams, I'm saying Nicholas Latifi and Valtteri Bottas. Now, I know it may seem a bit far-fetched that Bottas would be prepared to go from the best team to probably not the worst now. I'd say Haas are the worst, but second worst. Look, let me explain. So, obviously, 2022 onwards, again, regulation change, tightening the field up. Also, Williams, with their new ownership from De Rilton, have got more into bed with Mercedes. From 2022 onwards, we'll be sharing more parts. I think that'll be a much more competitive car. I believe the Williams will be right in the heart of the midfield from 2022 onwards. They've got the investment already. They've got the Latifi money, and hopefully Latifi improves anyway. But then the idea of doing a swap deal, Bottas coming the other way, back to Williams, a team he did so well in before he went to Mercedes. Williams aren't getting a bad driver at all. They're getting someone proven at that team. He knows the team. I don't know, man. I could see that happening. And I think Valtteri would be prepared to make that move rather than being out of F1 entirely. Maybe if it was going to the Williams of like last year or the year before last, he might have not been prepared to, but I do think the Williams will make a big step up. And last but by no means least, Alfa Romeo. I'm going with Antonio Giovinazzi and Nico Hulkenberg. Now, as for Giovinazzi, obviously Sauber like him. They've kept him on for 21. I think they'll keep him on for 22 because I do think he is steadily improving. I think he's getting better every race he does. And then for Kimi, surely he's going to retire at the end of 21, especially coming into a new regulation where like everything's going to change. Kimi's comfortable in the current cars. Clearly, he's happy and enjoying himself. But surely that extra year, like he's only done a 1 year extension anyway to his contract, I think. So it's just like, I don't see him staying beyond 2021. I really don't. And then with a driver like Nico Hulkenberg available, super versatile, super talented, has been at Sauber before in 2013. Again, with the new regulations and hopefully tightening that whole field up, and Antonio Giovinazzi and Nico Hulkenberg lineup could be pretty decent. It really could. This is my 2022 lineup. Here, enjoy. What do you think? I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm feeling pretty confident, but anything can happen in this sport, can't it? Thank you again for watching. Appreciate you all taking the time as always. And again, thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Much appreciated. Let me just grab Minton as well. My name's Tommo. His name's Minton. Thank you very much again for watching. Have a good one. Ta-da.